Hello! Time for a video confessional. So, like, what is my life right now? So that's fun. But basically, let's talk about the game a little bit here. I'm trying to think of where I left off last time, but let's just talk about like Jenna leaving. So Rob was telling me, oh, like Jenna's going back and forth. She doesn't know whether it's you or Dave, and like he kind of played with me a little bit. He was all like, oh yeah, like I'll convince her to vote Dave. I don't even know if that's the case, but he was trying to make it seem that way. So like whether she really was deciding in her head like, do I vote Joanna or do I vote Dave? Or if that was just something Rob made up, like whatever. But either way, I wasn't like really super concerned about it. Because I felt at the end of the day that Rob was with me to do whatever, that he wouldn't have let them vote out me. Because he sees Jenna and Dave as a bigger fit than myself. So there's no reason for him to like turn on me at this point in the game. Dave was talking about, yeah, let's vote out Jenna as a backup, and Jenna was saying to me, let's vote out Dave as a backup. What I was kind of thinking was like, why am I kind of putting Heidi at a distance at this point? Because like she's here. She is the one person I have really on my tribe right now, Tambaki, that I can reach out to, that I haven't really reached out to yet. Like she is the one ally that I can add to my little ally collection. And also, like, we're all kind of, like, teasing her with, like, yeah, we'll think we'll do this, we'll think we'll do that, but all in the back of our heads, we're thinking, well, only if you don't get kidnapped. But I was like, you know what, why don't I just, like, straight up, because she's gonna be kidnapped anyway, why don't I just straight up tell her right now, before anyone else, that I am sticking with her 100% no matter what happens. So if the off chance that she doesn't get kidnapped, I'm sticking with you, and we'll do a 2-2 tie, like, whatever it takes, or beyond that. If you come back next round and we lose again and you're up for the vote, like I will vote with you to 1. I will stick with you no matter what. So I sent out this huge long message on Sunday and it was really well received. She wrote back and said she was so grateful to hear about that. Ooh, low power mode. She said she was so grateful to hear from me, and she's like, you're the first one to reach out to me with an actual plan. She's like, everyone's been kind of like saying that there's cracks and there's ways for me to fit in, but like no one's actually like said anything. And so she was all excited, and I was like, yes. But then in her message back, she was all like, yeah, so like what if we get out Rob, and I think Jenna might do it, and Jenna, you and I should form an alliance. And I kind of had to write back like, well, like Jenna is sketchy and here's why. Dave is kind of like sketchy and here's why. Rob is like blah 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 blah. I just told her straight up it was for personal reasons. I'm like, personally, like I like Rob. He's a cool guy. He's the only one that's like respected me in this game so far, that I feel has respected me. I mean, he's probably bashing me in his confessional, whatever, but I don't want to like vote out Rob. But I made it clear in that message that like I have no problem blindsiding him, because I told her I'm not telling him anything about this message between us or my plans to force a 2-2 tie. Like, I'm not talking about it with him. But at the end of the day, I kind of wanted to make the jury. You know, before we knew it, she had formed or suggested or some kind of like a 4-person alliance between us 4, basically everyone except Jenna. But anyway, at the end of the day, we got on board and voted out Jenna. And it's no surprise that they kidnapped Heidi. I almost wrote something in the section like, surprise, surprise, or like, well, that's a shocker. But I was like, let's not be there with the snide remarks quite yet. I was like, I'm not sending her a goodbye message, and then all of a sudden she's like still here. So yeah, that would be like rookie mistake 101. Her final words were very very beautiful, so I'm sure she's a beautiful soul. I wonder if I know her in real life. I still haven't put my finger on Jenna. Like, I don't know if I've played with her before. She's very unique in her playing style. So unless she's playing for maybe the second time, and she's just really evolved since the first time that she played a game, that could be, or that's her style and she's played many times before and I've just never played a game with her. I'm not even sure, but it's very like unique and I can't really put a finger on it exactly who she is, which is exciting. So anyway, now that Heidi is kidnapped over to Jabiru, it's just Dave and Rob and myself, which is like really nice. Like I'm really enjoying just having the extra free time, like that I don't have to message like 30 people and I don't even have to message like 4 people. It's just Dave and Rob, so it's been really nice. I ran a few errands after work, put some oil in my car, I made a nice dinner, well I grocery shopped and then I made dinner, and then I made a homemade blueberry cobbler with blueberries that I picked in Florida, and vanilla bean ice cream from the Three Twins ice cream line that Neil from Survivor is like the CEO of. It's delicious. I would share some. Maybe I'll show it on screen next time because I do have a lot left over. But yeah, it was kind of nice to just like relax and actually watch like 3 episodes of Orange is the New Black. I'm trying to catch up on that season 2. Regardless, it's been nice to kind of have it a little quieter. Strategic talk has happened today. I've exchanged a couple messages with Dave and a handful or 2 with Rob. Mostly talking about like, okay, well if we lose next time, we're gonna vote out Heidi because they can't kidnap Heidi. And if we win next time, we're gonna kidnap Daniel and they'll probably vote out Roger or maybe someone else. Dave is really hoping it's gonna be Roger. I personally don't care. Like, so yeah, let's talk about this for a second though, before we get into like what's happening in the future. Heidi right now is over on Jabiru, and I've been wondering what kind of like things she's saying to them and what kind of things those people are asking her. So I checked my messages from Heidi from Sunday, and the last thing I sent was at like 8:10 p.m. and she hadn't responded, or like 9:10, well 8:10 Central Time I think. And it was saying that as far as Jabiru goes, I was like, I trust Daniel and Shauna the most. And I said that Alex and Matt less so, but that's just because we haven't really broken down that wall yet. And I said I have no beef with Roger, but I just think he's going to be like probably voted out sooner rather than later. And so that's kind of the last word she has. Here's what I think might happen. If I truly am the first person that came to Heidi and said, I will stick with you no matter what, I will 100% work with you, and I will force a vote, I will vote with you this next round if we lose again. Like, I'm the only one that kind of like guaranteed her safety first, is what it sounds like. So she's maybe gonna go over to Jabiru and they're gonna be like, Heidi, like, we're so glad you're safe, like how can we make you even more safe if you guys lose again? And she's gonna probably say, well, Joanna said, like Joanna promised me and gave me her word that she would vote with me next round. So they're gonna be like, great, like we'll send you back, we will not kidnap Joanna, we'll leave you with her so you can vote with her. And then what they're gonna end up doing is they're gonna leave either Dave or Rob with us, whomever they want voted out. So if they kidnap Rob, that means they want Dave voted out, and they think that Heidi and myself will vote him out. If they kidnap Dave, that means they want Rob out. And so that makes me pretty worried because I do not want to play into their main desire. If their desire is to get Rob out and they leave Rob there with Heidi and I, like, I do not want to play into that, but I don't also want to lose Heidi's trust. But then voting out Rob would lose like Daniel's trust a little bit. So it's like a mixed bag. Rob seems to think that they would kidnap, or they would leave Dave with Heidi because he seems to think that Dave and Heidi are the closest and that Dave promised her the most. I just kind of agreed with him. I didn't respond to be like, oh, actually, like, I think that's me who promised her the most. But he seems to think that it's going to be Dave left with Heidi along with either him or myself if we lose again as a tribe. And he was a little concerned about Dave and Heidi joining up to vote out either him or I if we have to go to tribal council next. And we talked about that for a little bit, but I think ultimately don't think that would be in his best interest to do that, to risk keeping Heidi to have her post-merge versus like maybe she'll be with Dave post-merge, but to give up like a sure thing and Rob or myself, which is really not a sure thing. We just don't think he'd do it. So at the end of the day, I think if we do lose again, they're going to kidnap Dave or Rob, and that means that they're going to want Heidi and myself to vote out that person that they essentially chose between Dave and Rob. So that puts me in a little tricky position just because I don't want to do what they want me to do. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll just think about that. And Rob's been sending me this huge message today about how Dave is this huge threat and everything, and I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to make sure that I enter this week with the thoughts in my head that Dave is a huge threat, I have to stick with Rob. Dave is a huge threat, I have to stick with Rob. But like, that's not really the case, because I think Rob is a lot savvier and a lot smarter. So at the end of the day, I don't think that like Rob's doing his best to try to convince me that Dave's a better player, but I'm not falling for it. I think Rob is a lot better of a player. So, and I was like, yes. Well, like, ooh. I only have like 4 seconds left. But anyway, bye.